Sensei Doug Knispo. Let's rock and roll.
Thanks, Sensei. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Punch Kick Choke Chat. It's Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Toronto time. We're so happy you're all here with us. I'm here with Sensei Randy Dauphin, Sensei Nicholas Suino, and Hanshi Gary Legacy. And tonight, my friends, we have a host chat. So we're going to jump right in. Look, if you want to see more detailed introductions, don't look for more detailed introductions. Go watch Sensei Suino, Hanshi Legacy, and Sensei Dauphin's episodes. And maybe while we're doing the show, I'll dig up which episodes those are. But go back and find those and you can get the full story. But we're really excited to just get chatting tonight because we've actually been up to a lot since our last host chat. And the first thing I want to say before we get going is being a host chat. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on the podcast, you're probably not with us in real time. Hit subscribe, hit like, have a good chat in the comments. We'll drop in and bolster your opinions or fight with them as you will. But if you're here on the Zoom, that means you're part of our living history. And on our host chat night, we actually want you to come on camera and ask your question of us. If you're willing to, you don't have to, you can type it, but we'd love to see you. We'd love you to be a part of it that way. It's a unique chance when we do these chats. So Sensei Suino, I know you want to get the ball rolling with a couple things tonight.
Yeah, well, in most recent memory for all of us is the Matsumura Challenge. That's the legacy tournament that has been going on, I understand, for 49 years. And all of us were just there this weekend. I had a great time. I was helping out reffing and judging the whole time and just kept doing it and doing it more and more and had a blast. And I know Sean, you competed and right, Hanshi was there, Randy was there. I'd love to just hear what people thought of it and how it went.
Who are you directing that to first, Sensei?
Why don't you give us a start, Randy?
Um, for me, it's a lot of work. Like I do, as everybody on this call knows, because um, with Suino Sensei and Legacy Sensei, I'm usually commiserating with them like on a daily basis, and they're keeping me sane. Um, so the back end work, I have a pretty good methodology now for doing it, like getting the insurance, getting all the room, and a myriad of help of people who help me with that. When it gets to the event, I relax once the first divisions go in, and then it's just kind of for the day, it's wash, rinse, repeat, and be looking for any problems that might be happening, which I think there's only one or two this year. Couple of little small things that I wasn't super happy about, but we'll address those for next year. It's really nice. I think what for me, one of the things that's starting to become one of my favorite events is the team katas. I love watching those team katas. The team katas are so nice to see. People are putting more work into them, and they look really good when they do them. Um, I've been debriefing with my own students because it's funny. We might want to get into this. Some of the students go with an expectation, and when the expectation isn't met, they're like, "Oh, I suck. I'm not good. I don't like." And other people, like one of my brown belts, came in, and I said, "Her name is Amanda," and I said, "Amanda, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you compete. How did you do? How did it go at the tournament?" And she said, "Um, I didn't win any medals, Sensei, but I did really good. I feel really good about competing." And I'm like, "That's awesome. Like that's what you hope for, right? Is that they're going to feel that way, and our tournament is that way." The last thing I'll say before I hog all the airwaves is we had a couple of new schools come, and when we did the black belt meeting, after the tournament was done, both of those schools came to me and said, when you did the black belt meeting, you build the tournament to be something. And we've heard that before at other tournaments, and it's never that way. But they both said yours was. It was a celebration of martial arts. Everybody was cheering for each other. Nobody was coaching just their own students. It was fair. Nobody cheated. The tournament was like fierce, like the competition was really good, but everybody was really happy and hanging around with each other and having a good time. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, what a great atmosphere. I had such a blast. Hanshi, how was the experience for you?
It was good. It's smoother every year. Like Randy is the pulse of the tournament. Like from the second that it's that season or that time, he just starts getting things rolling. I used to do it myself, but it was like we'd register everybody at the door, and he just sort of took it over, and he don't even need me anymore. I sort of walk around. I'm the arbitrator. Nobody called me at all this year. It was my best performance year.
I feel bad, Hunchy. We could just make up some trouble so we can call you in next time.
I'm standing in front of the mirror holding my belt different ways now. Uh, but I love it. Next year, we really would like to, if anybody out there, like Doug Knispel or Ron or Alan, if you have any suggestions for stuff for us to do for the 50th anniversary next year, got to change the medals a little bit and try to put that somewhere on it. And we would like, I'm going to have like Leo Laux and a bunch of world champions come just to get introduced and, like that. I'm going to talk to Jean-Yves to see if I can have him come. And maybe Cesar Bukowski and John, just big names just for introductions and make it a little bit more than what it normally is. If anybody has any suggestions, we're open to it.
I think that's such a great idea, man. 50 years. I'm
Yeah.
telling the JMAC people about it already, whether they come and compete in karate or not. I just think as partner clubs, we need to come and support that event. It's amazing.
Do you suppose it would? I'm just going to throw it out there just to be thought of. Maybe PKCC could have 20 minutes, half an hour there. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think we can
I
find a
love that
way.
idea. Remember when we did the live one at that event on that was so fun to just bring it out, do a live chat. I mean,
Yeah, you could just walk out and talk to somebody who's just walking by, or I don't know. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
Love it.
Just a suggestion.
yeah, great idea.
Sean,
Okay.
you competed at the tournament this weekend, so your experience was probably a little different than ours. What was it like for you?
Well, a little bit. I'll talk about the competition in a sec, but I just love the vibes this year. What Sensei said, that felt right. Like, and I think as I'm maturing in the martial arts, I'm able to see the bigger picture a little more, I hope. And it did feel like a celebration, like it felt like just a really good room of people who were coming to do their thing. And I didn't feel edge in the room. And, we've had the odd year where a person or a club's a little trying to sneak in the stuff that's not what the event's about. And I love the idea that the competitor has to just be self-sufficient that day because their sensei's probably coaching or it's not coaching, sorry, reffing or adjudicating kata. And there's something really nice about a competitor having to find their own fortitude that day and maybe not be watched by the person who's watching them a lot throughout their martial arts journey. And I think it's really important, every man dies alone. Even if you're holding someone's hand, like you cross over alone and you step into that ring alone and you win or lose on your own merits, not some in the moment thing that's going to be whispered in your ear and save you. And I kind of felt that even as I wasn't able to be there for some of my students. And then I'd glance, I'd be like, wow, they just did that better than they've ever done it in class. They rose to the challenge. And when I think about the idea of it being a Matsumura challenge, I like that idea, like people rising to the challenge. And the other thing I want to say, and this is not me as a competitor because I can't speak to that, I'm too inside it, but I feel like, when you're scoring points in a point match, it's not a knockout match. It's not a who won the totality of the, 3 minutes or 5 minutes. It's a very specific exchange. And I felt like the reffing was really good this year. I have at times seen points that for me, it's not about the points that where it's like, oh, I got one and they didn't score it. It's, oh, someone kicked me here and somehow they got a point. And I'm not really talking about me, but in general. And I just was like, oh, wow, the flags I'm seeing are going out for the right kinds of things, martial virtue. Um, and I felt proud of that because I think it's hard to balance a point tournament sometimes with a really legitimate non-game tag. And I was proud of the tournament this year. As far as the competitor goes, and I don't want to talk too long, but we talked about this a little earlier today, Sensei Suino. Like I loved dropping into a mindset that I don't go to a lot. Cold, dark, here to win, don't care about you. The second the matches are done, it's this guy. But I don't do that a lot. When I was in high school, I was competing all the time. A math test was a competition, a volleyball game was a competition. Early karate felt like more like a sport than an art. But it was really nice to bring back like Dark Sean and just go cold, be there to execute. And, I didn't come home with all the medals I wanted, but I had the best tournament I think I've ever had in terms of rising to my ability on a given day. Uh, yeah, so it was really nice to just go. I'm glad the competitor's there. I don't want him to be around as much as when I was young, but I don't want him to ever not be a part of my being. And so it was really nice to strap on and get in the ring.
How about you, Suino Sensei? What you were there all day from opening of the doors until closing of the doors?
Yeah, I just had a blast. It was like uh, first of all, walking in there, I got, what do I know, 100 people in that
Mm.
room now personally, right? And so just to shake hands and hug that many people, and they seem glad to see me, and I'm glad to see them. And then to ref and judge, I was lucky to be one of the corner guys in Copeland Sensei's ring, and he's always fun to work with. It was just a great day, and I was having so much fun. I didn't want to stop, so I just stayed out there, and I stayed all day refing and judging and refing and judging, and I hope nobody was too upset with my decisions. I was having a blast.
I never got any complaints about the reffing from anybody. I got some questions. Like I had one 17-year-old black belt walked up to me and said, um, Sensei, I was competing in that ring and I got disqualified for punching somebody in the face. And I'm watching the black belts in that ring and they're punching each other in the face and they're getting points. And I said, you know why that is? This is like your, do you know why this many geese are on this? I said, do you know why that is? He's like, no, why? I said, because you competed in that ring and those
Of
people are
course.
competing in that ring. Right. So, um, but I do want to say that, I was going to mention that our center refs, okay, I want to say thank you to Christine and Lena. Those two get people in the door in a very organized way. Like they get in the room in a very organized way. So we do a lot of work up front to get things organized. And if that falls apart at the door, then everything else is going to kind of fall apart. So they get them in really organized. After that, all the work's on the center referees and the table. Um, Kiyoshi Adet Rice, she does the grand championship thing, and we thank her for that because she does a great job with it.
Mm.
She works with the tables and makes sure everybody's keeping things on the up and up. But those centers, like who do we had out there? We had Sensei Kanispel who's on the call. Sensei Copeland was out there. Sensei Pete Daypuck was out there. Sensei Ryan Feist was out there. Sensei Ryan Potter was out there. Sensei Whitall and our own Sensei Bowron. They just kept things rocking. Like it was just like a machine. We had 6 rings going nonstop. There was
Yeah.
never an empty ring until it was done. Um, and nobody complained about the refereeing. I got no complaints about refereeing.
I think each year, I think the same people come, right? But they just build. And the ones don't like things fair and can't have it their own way, they just don't come back. And that's part of it for us, right? So just I think after this many years, the majority of people just know how we do stuff. They know we're not going to call 8 flags. They know, we're not going to let people talk to the students. So they realize that we're going to stick to those rules. If you give in, if you change or you give in any way, then everybody's confused,
Mm.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I just want to say about coaching if you're a sensei, just think about this. It's not fair for the other competitor because your student is fighting him with you, right? And that's just not fair. And the other thing, it's not fair to your student because he's not really learning to be his own man, right? He's always got you over his shoulder. You should be, you should learn. You're not going to be there if somebody attacks him in the street or if he's trying to help somebody. He needs personal growth. That's why we don't want you to talk to the competitors. Let them grow by themselves.
The primary way you coached me, Sensei, was by giving me the look that it was time for me to disqualify. um, you know,
I,
I will say though, Sensei, and I know you've done this with me, like not coaching while they're in the ring, but before people go in the ring, if I know something about another competitor, I'll walk over and whisper to one of our black belts, "Hey, this guy's going to run all over this guy's going to be bouncing all over the plate." Like, and I think but then I just go back and sit at the table and let them fight their fight, right? Like,
what they should really do, like giving a secret away here, is I tell my students, go sit around the ring, watch the other fighters.
Mm-hmm.
What? You're going to see something. What's the guy's favorite technique? Um, does he have an idiosyncrasy? Stomps his foot before he does something. Is he a kicker? There's so many things you can discover. What's his favorite technique, which he's going to throw it more times than not. And you learn a lot about the person you're going to face. So when you face them, you have some information. The other guys that are talking and playing with their stuff or look counting the spider webs in the ceiling, they're not they're not really aware. They're not there to fight for real, right? So they need to learn. They need to learn that from the senses, maybe to when you're at the tournament. When you sit down, there's a lot to be gained by paying attention.
I think, Sensei, I'm going to build on that too. The other thing you often told me to do is I would watch the referees too, because then if you get in that ring, you know this referee is not applying this contact rule quite the same way as other referees. And I would even watch the schools to be like, because the senseis are going to teach their best stuff to their students. So if you watch like, the purple and brown belt division before you get to the black belt division, you'll see things that certain schools like to do. And then when you face that crest, something similar is likely going to be coming at you.
Okay, watch it. There are too many guys watching
Ah.
that.
I want to expand just on something you said, Hanshi, about, not having your coach or your sensei over your shoulder the whole time. Like, I've talked about periods in LA where I wasn't near Sensei Dauphin much or you, and that's when I heard a lot of the lessons the most. It's when I'm walking my own path when it's like, oh, now I know what this means. Because sometimes new information on top of old information, I'm not sure which to process, but sitting with a pond that hasn't had a pebble in it for a sec, the pebbles in there start to emerge, whether it's in a short term, like fighting without a sensei saying what to do right away, or longer term, like lessons. It's like Sensei Dauphin's taught me 1,000 things. And then when I'm alone, the 8 I'm ready for will emerge. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Before we move on from this topic, I just want to, and I think everybody can do this if you want. I want to share a couple of. I really liked seeing Sensei Jim Christian do his kata. Guy's
Yeah.
80 years old, walked out there and did a kata, and he did it good. And I was very inspired to see him go into the ring and do that. I wish more people would do that. Um, my daughter did really good in the weapons and kata division. She didn't do as good in fighting, but I was really proud of her. Her kamakata's looking nicer. I know it's my daughter, but a lot of people came up to me and said, Sensei Cheyenne does a really nice kamakata. They really liked it. And she did a new kata this time for her empty-handed kata and still won. So that was good. Um, my one black belt, Craig, who I thought he fought really good. He came in third place
Yeah.
in your division, Benson. I thought he had good timing. Like when the guy stood still, he moved around just enough. When the guy wasn't like he exploded at the right times. I just thought he did really good. I was really proud of him. Um, I already told you, Benson, I thought you did a really nice kata. I thought your kata looked better than I've seen it look. Not that it ever looked bad before, but I could just tell you've been practicing it. Like you can just see, and you looked mature doing it. I want to say I was really proud of your fighting, and I was, and it was a good division, but I knew you were the best fighter in that division. Like when I looked at the division, I was like, unless Benson does something horrible, he should win this division, right? And then I gotta say, it was really nice to see Ryan Feiss compete. He hadn't competed in 2 years. And I think I said to you since Legacy, he's not going to do the screaming thing. He's just going to do a nice traditional kata. And he did a nice traditional kata. He had good key eyes. His bow kata was really nice and traditional. And his first fight, he looked slightly rusty. And then that was gone after like the fourth point. And then he just like, but I pointed this out to you, Benson. The thing that I'm most impressed with him is all the black belts have nice techniques. They all have good punches, good kicks, all of them. Ryan has really good strategy. He's so smart when he fights. Like he's got two or three techniques. I don't want to say what they are, but you saw them that he'll get you exploding off the line. He won't move and then right away he won't engage in the same way. You come at him and he just drifts away and starts moving and then hits you with movement. And he goes back and forth between that. So nice. So pleasant to watch. And I don't know why people leave before the black belt division happens. It's so crazy. Like
It's crazy.
you should stay until the end. It's so nice to see the black belts compete.
This,
In the old days, sorry,
no,
in the old days, I mean, when I used to compete, they would start at 9 in the morning or at 10 in the morning and run till about 3 or 4 o'clock. And it would break till 7. And they would set chairs all around this massive ring. And there would be an evening black for the black belts. It was a little bit different that way. So I don't know if they look at the parents just want to get in and out of the children. If you make it sort of a spectacular, don't know how you say it in English. If you make it a show at nighttime with people doing katas and different stuff, a little bit like Capital Conquest, it may draw them, but geez, it's a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Yeah, and sorry, Benson, Sensei Kanispel, he did beat you in kata. His kata is so nice, and his bow kata is so nice too. Like
Yeah.
I never get tired of watching it.
Yeah.
no, absolutely. And thanks for the kind words, Sensei Dauphin. I felt really good about all of it. But what I was just going to say, Hanshu, about like watching the black belts is you were talking about watching the people fight. And I was like, half the reason I had to try and keep focused because I wanted to watch the younger black belt division next to me so much because that was such a great rig too. And I was like, I'm so conflicted. I got to watch the guys I'm going to be fighting next, but I also just am so entertained and learning stuff, right? Like it was such a delight. And I was laughing what you were saying, Sensei Dauphin, about senseis who will teach they'll teach all their students effectively a certain way. And when you're watching their green or their purple, you're actually seeing the more basic version of it. So it's easier to clock. The black belt might be better at hiding it, but you know that, okay, the clunkier, younger version is what's coming. And so it's almost like you're getting a slow-mo, not necessarily, but tape of it. Plus, it's
Yeah.
just fun. I want to watch other people do martial
Oh,
arts.
it was fun. Yeah, that division you made reference to was, I mean, watching guys from the legacy clubs, right? Watching Robert and Andrew and some of the other guys fight was a huge treat.
It was a hungry division this year. It was hungry. Yeah. Yeah.
And just to geez, I forgot the young girl's name. Just to tell you that anybody can win at any time. We had a young, brand new black belt win the black belt all-around grand champion.
She's a good fighter.
She is a good
Hachi.
fighter.
Holy
She,
cow.
yeah, she
You
can't
know,
win.
I was
Elodie.
watching her eyes when she was fighting, right? Not just her technique. She's studying. She's got tactical thoughts. Like she's a really good fighter.
That's Elodie, and she
Elodie.
has a really good sensei who's also a very good fighter too, which is Sensei Patricia Beauregard.
Yeah.
For those watching, go find her episode as well, please.
Right.
Yeah, a former world champion, true world champion.
Amazing.
Uh,
Just uh, where the different countries are fighting it out.
Just to put a button on it, I just, one of the highlight for me, aside from kind words from people that matter, was fighting Sensei John Pearson, because he's one of the founding members of our club, and that just felt really special to me in terms of how much this crest matters to me and how much this club matters to me.
It was good to see him compete.
Yeah, but I think he realizes things have changed.
Well, nothing stays the same.
That's why I don't fight in there.
Um,
I don't want to get myself beat up.
How about, okay, I don't know. I don't want to move past the tournament, but I do want to move past the tournament to talk about another event that we didn't get a chance to talk about too much, which was our practical fighting camp, which I think it turned out really good. That one is another one that's getting better and better all the time. Uh, since the Knispel's on the call, one of these times we should have got him to come on and share his thoughts of what he saw. But
Have him come on right now.
well, I don't know. He can put a message in the group if he wants to come on and share his thoughts, but he might be in the same boat that you and I were talking about, Sensei Lacey. He might be like, you know, since Lacey and I were saying we should have an episode where you have to guess what the hosts are wearing from the waist down, right? So I don't want to put Sensei Knispel on the spot. He's not wearing something from the waist up, but I do want to talk about that fight camp a little bit, the practical fighting seminar. Yeah, Setsuna, why don't you frame it up for us, what it is, like let everybody know what it is, and then we can just talk a little bit about our thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the one we've been doing two a year. I don't know if we'll continue to do that, but one is in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and this one is in Kitchener, and we're really blessed so far to have James Freeze host it at his dojo. He's got a little bit of good space for it. But practical fighting camp, we basically I would get the numbers right. Hour and a half. Hanchi teaches striking, right? He does the absolutely unique and wonderful Hanchi Legacy striking class. Of course, that should be an 8-hour class, but he squeezes it in an hour and a half. And then I get to do a little bit of work with takedowns and depending on the day, some stuff on the ground. Maybe it's top position or submissions. That's about an hour and a half. And then we come back together, and Sensei Dauphin supervises and starts this thing where we got kind of do live rounds. And we do what do we do this time? A minute and a half each. Minute and a half where you stand up and you have the gloves on, and then the alarm bell rings and you drop the gloves and you go to the ground. We don't do the takedowns now because just you got to have the right floor. That's where a lot of accidents are going to happen if you got strikers who not used to judo or wrestling, vice versa. So we just go to the ground and we wrestle, right? We roll on the ground and try to apply what we've learned in that day. And it's a lot of learning, but then when we get to the live rounds, it's just sweat and smiles. People have so much fun. Everybody leaves exhausted and happy. Yeah, and this is, I think, the biggest one we've had so far. And
There's just over
and
60 people, right, at this one?
yeah, and everybody was. I got tons of raves this time. As we hung out for the last 30 minutes after it was all over, and people were slowly working their way out. Everybody just raved about it. Hanchi, what was it like for you? You teach the first part of it, and so your perspective might be a little different than ours.
Yeah, I brought. I got like 10 or 12 pages hanging on there, and I only get through a page and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not enough time. So if anybody ever wants to finish those pages, I could always come, and I'm not trying to sell myself here, but I could always come and finish it. But I'm going to need like 2, 3 hour days, take you through that, something like that.
Everybody should do
And
that.
when you when you leave these things that we put on, you're a different person. You come in the door, you're that person. When you leave, you are not the same person. It's the same with the crucible that you have, right? People, when you come in and train hard as a martial artist, you're going to change yourself to being better or um, a more mature fighter. You may know a lot of the things that I teach, but when somebody else forces you or gets you moving a little bit faster, you push your boundaries a little bit, right? And you become a better overall fighter. Yeah.
I always take away new stuff from the segment that you do. It's phenomenal how deep that well is. Sean, how about you? How was your experience this time?
It was awesome. Look, I had popped a rib the day before, and so I couldn't do anything physical. And, you know, this is going to sound a little egoic, and I'm okay if it does. A couple people were like, "Oh, you must be hating this." I was like, "I don't. I wish I could train, but it's just another training day, and I do this daily." So it didn't feel like some big loss. It's not the only thing I count as the big fight weekend. And the gift I got from it was being able to assist a little, but really just watch. And the thing for me, you know, sometimes when it comes to Bunkai, some karateka can be a little stiff about it. And sometimes when it comes to something like grappling, BJJ only people can lose sight of the fact that you could get punched, kicked, or kneed from these places. And so watching people have to cross a boundary, where I could see karate people when the hands are starting to go on in those takedown and clinch and ground ways, there's an immediate relaxation and then how they spar, even if they were already relaxed sparring. And similarly, you could see BJJ people sort of respecting a standing game way more than they had ever thought. And everybody just kind of came together in this way. And again, like thinking about the concept of celebration, like this is sweaty training where people are trying to hit other people or submit other people, but the sheer amount of sweat and smiles, it's just such a phenomenal event. And I think, you know, there's MMA, which is its own thing, but just going within this community, every component part of that exists, and we're just going to fill in the gaps, so to speak. And I really do think, in that sense, the takedown component is hugely important. And I love the way you teach that, and I love the way people respond to it, because going from here to the ground, that's a big distance, and there's a lot of uncertainty there, even for BJJ or even for karateka. Uh, I just think that fluidity from Hanshi to then you and then you on the ground is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's such a both classical and practical, as in looser way to approach it all. Love it.
Thank you. That love hearing that. All right, Randy. So you're organizer, collaborator, participant, right? You're
Uh,
the ones that tease up the live rounds. What is your perspective on it?
so this last one, I just, Heritage was there, Driftwood was there, JMAC was there, Legacy Sharonru was there, Richmond Hill Budokan was there, Cambridge BJJ came for they were there. I'm sorry if I'm missing, but one of the things I really like is they come in and everybody just kind of checks their ego at the door. They're empty their cup. They get in there and they just start, like, everybody was just so willing to learn, which for me, I just love to see it. And very safe. Like there's some people in that room that could be not safe if they chose not to be safe. They could make themselves feel really good at the expense of a lot of people. because this is not when we bill this as like the practical fighting seminar. One of the things I'm always trying to like get people to realize is that you don't have to be a world champion or an MMA champion to actually come to this thing. We have people there who are like white belts who've no, they're not good at any of this stuff yet. And we have people who are like world champions in striking or like high level BJJ grapplers who've competed internationally. They all get together and they're super safe and supportive of each other. And I love it. And they still train super hard. Like we're not talking like, you know, my BJJ coach came, he put a white belt on. It was kind of funny to see him with a white belt on. And he loved it. After he was like, he said, Randy, I know why you train with those two men. I know why those are your. And I said, yeah, because they're similar to you. That's why I train with you too, right? And and I said, both my teachers said how you paid attention and you like, but not just him. Everybody was like that. I really like. It's interesting for me now as a person who can cross over. I'm obviously karate guy through and through, much better at striking than I am doing grappling, but I like seeing people who really feel uncomfortable when they're like primarily a grappler and they got to do this minute and 30 seconds of something they really feel uncomfortable with until two or three rounds go by. And then they're like, actually, I'm going to live through this okay. Like it's going to be fine. These people are going to help me. No. And then on the other side of it, I really like when I see the striking people are like, shit, I got to go on the ground now with this person. I have no, and I can't punch him in the face, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do now. But then after a couple of rounds, they just get into the groove of going back and forth, and then it just becomes really joyful by the end. People are just, they're just really joyful. And the final thing I'll say about that is they're so comfortable, in fact, that people who don't even know each other I saw people from Cambridge BJJ walking up to people from JMAC who they didn't know and saying, "Hey, would you do a round with me? Would you do a round of stand up and ground with me?" That to me is a huge measure of success. When people who've never met each other before come to a seminar, it's going to be fighting. You're going to get hit. You're going to do some grappling. You might get choked, but you're willing to go to some stranger that you've never met before and say, "Hey, would you do this with me?" That's a huge measure of success for the event, I think.
And you said something so huge just about you got black belts putting on white belts. And that is both literal, because it happens and happened, and metaphorical. You got people who are going, I could just puff up and be like, yeah, that wouldn't work on me. Or I can go, I have no idea what that fucking thing is, and I'm willing to know nothing about it. That's amazing. So there's something we've talked about, unless
John, I just want to make sure, since Suino gets the final word on
oh,
this,
pardon me.
any thoughts on that?
Uh, yes, great event. The people we have that come are amazing. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next one. You know, we'll spend a few months dialing it up, and it's like it's not radically different, but there'll be some things that are better each and every time. The timing will be better. We'll have different people in the room. We'll have a couple of different rule sets. Uh, yeah, and it'll be better. And the key is people will learn something. They'll have a great time, and the community keeps building, right? I always say that about all these events we're doing. I just love being able to go to all these different cities and show up, and I could go into a dojo and people would be happy to see me and I'd be happy to see them. We'd have this thing in common, right? And the more of these events we do, the more of those folks there are out there. It makes the world a really fun place to be.
Since the Copeland's coming in now to the room, even and
To agitate, to cause
no,
trouble.
he'll have to watch the show to hear all the nice things we said about him before he came on the show.
That's true.
Sorry, Beth, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just
Oh,
wanted
no. It's my bad. Sorry, Sensei Suino, I didn't mean to move on. But one of the things we've talked about is revisiting some of the 10 questions. But the great news is, at the time when all of us were asked 10 questions, we've got some new ones.
Mhm.
And so I think there's, if we have time, if no one else pops in or we don't get any other big ideas, there's three that I think are worth visiting for us that none of us have answered on the show. So I'll start with you, Sensei Dauphin. Let's start with a fun one. Because we've never asked one another, if someone were to play you in a movie, who would it be? So let's start there for you.
I think for me, it's you and I have talked about this before. I think it's probably Donnie Wahlberg.
Okay.
Right? Like I think he's probably he's moody and brooding like me in most of his movies. So um that's probably the one that I would pick. I don't know, but who do you think? Like, who would you pick for me?
Who would please come back to me because I don't want to throw something out. There's someone who's roiling around back here. Oh, Tom Hardy. Done.
Yeah, it's
Great
similar.
choice.
Yeah, similar to Donnie Wahlberg, right?
Great
But
choice.
Yeah. No. That's who I was thinking of in my head. Oh, Sensei Copeland just dropped in Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the Tom Hardy. I mean, if you see him in Warrior, if you see him, he just got his BJJ brown belt and he legit competes. He doesn't do celeb only training. He trains with real guys, gets the knocks. Yeah, and he even has a bit of your same physicality. It's a no-brainer for me. Sensei Suino, who plays you in the movie of you?
Oh shit, I don't know. This is completely skewed because I just rewatched Sicario. So I'm going with Benicio del Toro for me. Even though he looks nothing like me. If you want to
Love
have
it.
I've got a man crush on that dude, man. He just hit that the masculine vibe that he has in that
Love
movie is
it.
crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Who do we think should play Sensei Suino?
Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah,
A couple
good,
years. Yeah,
for sure.
right.
I don't
What
know.
about
I could see
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins playing you. He's a really smart guy, like smart person. Or Gene Hackman. I could see
You know, this is so random, and he's got to bulk up, but a younger Billy Bob Thornton.
Ooh.
from Sling Blade.
Yeah, because he's so skinny now, right?
You've
Yeah,
even
from
got your
Sling
jaw a
Blade with the
little forward
haircut.
right now,
With the
since
haircut,
like
right?
literally once you said that, you just did that.
I like them French fried potatoes.
I like it.
I know.
I can't believe that Sensei Copeland picked a white guy for me. Could have been like Michael Jai White or something. Like,
Uh-huh.
What about you, Hanchi Legacy? Who's playing you in the movie?
The lighter side, Telly Savalas.
Nice. Nice.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe when I was really younger and I had blonde hair and everything, maybe Chuck Norris. Maybe I'm just trying to. And then my oldest self now, Master Po from Kung Fu.
That's gorgeous.
I
Love that.
may.
Okay.
But Hachi, having seen pictures of you when you were much younger, um, uh, like the Paul Newman era, like Paul Newman could have played you. Um, I don't know if he ever wore a mustache in any of his parts, right? But if he wore a mustache or a goatee and when he had, and had hair, um, I feel like the Cool Hand Luke era, maybe just a little after that, it would have been perfect.
I think I've seen pictures of Sensei Legacy from another life, and I think maybe Peter Fonda would be a good person to play Sensei Legacy in a
That's
role.
the era. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that because you rode that motorcycle?
I just seen some pictures of you on your motorcycle, where you remind me of him. That's all, or he reminds me of you.
All right,
I'm
Benson.
well,
Besides yourself,
yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go sort of three different ages, right? Younger, I'm going Austin Butler. I don't know if you know him, but I love that guy. He actually just did a movie called Bike Riders, all about late 60s biker gangs. Hanchi, you would love that movie. Super talented actor, and he's got a vitality that I just kind of dig. My age, or just a touch older, I'm going Matthew McConaughey. That to me is a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then if we're going older, here's where it gets interesting. I want to say Brando, and I don't think it doesn't work, but I think I'm being more accurate as Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, or younger Dennis Hopper playing me younger would work because, we got some overlap in behavior. But I've seen, there's one photo I took of myself a while ago with my hair slicked back, and it was like half 58-year-old Brando, but it was also half Hopper. And I was like, I don't hate either of those. So that's where I'm going with it.
I'm going Edward Norton for you,
I'll
Benson.
take it. I will,
Nice.
I will take Ed Norton. He hasn't
Listen,
done as much lately, but he's one of the best actors ever.
listen, after your Billy the Kid stuff, some of the Westerns, I think Robert Duvall, man, right? Come on, a little older version of you with the Fu
Yeah,
Manchu. Fuck, that's
yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Fine, we'll go Robert Redford, Ed Norton, Robert.
Well,
You
if
know,
we're gonna go Western things, I would say that Kevin Costner, you could play you, like an older
Mhm.
you. An older you would be Kevin
Yeah.
A
Costner.
Yellowstone era, yeah.
Hundo
Yep.
P.
Nice.
Okay, let's go a notch deeper, and this is one we haven't gone around and done. I'll start with you, Sensei Suino. What advice would you give your younger self, and at what age?
That's interesting. I would have given myself in my 20s, get your ass to Japan sooner. Um, and and I mean, I went when I was 28, but looking back on it, it wouldn't have hurt to have gone when I was 25. Stay in Japan longer and and uh take drink the experience in more fully. I missed some opportunities to network, to train with more people, to do more stuff. I mean, it's just like do more often, do it sooner, and do it longer. That's what I would have done. Yeah.
Do more, do it sooner, do it longer.
Hmm.
Be great. Hanchi Legacy, what advice would you give your younger self? What age?
Uh, Maybe somewhere in my late 20s, I would have liked to, I would give myself the advice of doing a grappling art, like what you guys are doing. I see the what's good in that, but uh, at this age, I know I could learn a couple of things, but I couldn't get into it. I really want to. So I would have had a roll at it in my younger age.
Nice.
But it wasn't like that then. We were just all back in 55, 60 years ago. We were all just trying to get a hold of one martial art, right? There were very few people that knew a lot of different arts.
Yeah, you'd drive like 3 days to find a green belt who knew half of a kata. You'd be like, we gotta drive to Minnesota because there's a green belt there that knows half of a pinyan kata. We gotta learn that.
I did go after it, so I got to say that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Different era.
Um, I'll answer next just so I'm not answering last all the time. That doesn't feel right to me, but it's sort of for me, it's the same answer, but in stages of what for me is a little deeper emanation. Like the obvious one is just no cocaine. And like just don't go near it. But then a broader way to put that for me is not every box needs to be ticked. There's it like you always say, Sensei Suino, a genius doesn't make the same mistake once. Like you can look around and not need to do everything everyone's done. And then where I go even deeper with that, and this is what I'd love, because my younger version wouldn't listen to either of those two. He'd be like, screw you, old dude. But this one he might hear, which is trust that the emanation from your internal will give you everything you need that you think you're getting from the external. And my young self would hear that. And I'd be like, oh, and it's like, do more of less, not less of more. And so that would be my advice to my young self. And that would include more training. That would include no coke. That would be the way I'd phrase it to myself is trust that the emanation of your internal is more important than what you think you're getting from the external. Sensei Dauphin?
I have two. We talked about one this morning, so I would have told my young self, be inspired by these people that you're looking at, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Yves Thériault. Be like inspired by these people, but don't be competitive with anybody in that way. Like don't just I'd say, look, kid, are you better today than you were yesterday? Then you're winning. Keep doing that every day. Keep doing that the next day. Are you better than that version of yourself yesterday? Then you're winning. Like you're on the right path. And that's going to pay some huge dividends for yourself when you're 30, then exponentially more when you're 40, and then exponentially more when you're 50. Just keep building you better than you were yesterday. And then inevitably, you might even pass some of those people who are inspiring you by not focusing on them too much and focusing on yourself more. So that's one thing I would tell my young self. Um, Another thing I would tell my younger self, maybe not as like that 18 to 25, but around the 30-year mark, and Suino, since this is something you and I have talked about before, is not limiting myself by the expectations that other people had of me. My mom, like different
Mm,
people, they expect you to be a certain way. It's not the way that you actually want to be. You want to be something different. You want to go in a different direction. And you drag your feet on those things because you don't want to upset the people around you that you love and care about, right? And now I know that that really could have just been a conversation to say, look, I know you want this for me, but this is what I want for myself. And I'm going to start aggressively going in this direction now that I want for myself. I think had I done that, I might have had a full-time dojo sooner. There's a lot of things that I have now that I might have been able to do just a little bit quicker,
mm.
maybe, right? And it's always those people close to you that, you don't want to disappoint, right? You don't want to disappoint your partner or your best friend or your mom or your dad or your brother or your kids. Um, but you got to live your own life at a certain point too, right?
What a fun question. And I love these answers. So the third one is a version of one we did all answer, which is who is the most influential martial artist of all time? But we've adjusted it for later episodes, which is I'll start with you this time, Hanshi. Who do you think is the most influential martial artist alive today?
Just in general.
Yeah, however you want to think about it, but they're alive, you know. It's not Miyamoto Musashi.
Yeah, yeah. I find that hard. The only guy I can say right now is probably the Gracie family because they've changed the face of the arts a little bit. Um, and if we're talking maybe even, and I know you're going to say, but I think that Sensei Suino is a guy who changed the face of weaponry in North America. He's one of, I watch other EI masters, they never cut like his students. There's a lack of that big circle. They just pull it down too soon. Um, uh, and I, and I don't know how I, at the very beginning, I was doing it for myself. So I was out looking for somebody and I just ran into his sensei, Yamaguchi. Um, and then I wanted somebody who was like him, and he was the guy. And I've since, that's how many years is that? 35 years. And I've never seen another guy, even in the same realm as he is, that he's in. He's actually that next generation of Yamaguchi.
I had a great teacher, Hanshi. What can I say? Yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you didn't just stay home and get it either. You
fair.
went to Japan and
Yeah, fair.
the guy won in Japan, he won 4 championships at their art in their country. You know, you think they would have cheated, but they didn't. They probably couldn't. So,
First Gaijin to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. What a great experience that was.
Uh, in the knowledge that I have and the realm that I'm in, I think he's one of those guys. You could just see it now at the Canadian United States border. All the people are indirectly or directly going to him to learn EI.
Well, Sensei Suino, I mean, obviously, we understand that that's legitimate praise, and also your humility is evident. Where do you go with the most influential martial artist alive today?
I am struggling with that question, because I'm trying to think of somebody. The the Gracie family, as Hachi said, are incredibly influential. They did change the face of martial arts um, for a big swath of the people. But there's also a huge part of the world of martial arts that's involved in Tai Chi, in classical Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, in the Chinese internal arts, uh, in Hapkido. There's a and so I think the popular view is that the Gracies are probably the most influential people alive today in martial arts. But I don't know if there's a unifier, right? If we lived in the age of Kano, Professor Kano, you could say, right? And for a long time, he was the most influential for many years. Uh, you could say Ueshiba about Aikido. You could say Funakoshi about karate. But there's those the Gracies are Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, right? I mean, Kano was a unifier, and he had his hands in a lot more than one martial art. So as you can see, I'm struggling to come up with somebody. There's movie martial arts, there's famous fighters, um, but I don't think the famous UFC fighters are what I would call influential in the martial arts. I think they're wonderful, and I have huge respect for them. But I think they're highly regarded fighters, and not necessarily the most influential in the martial arts in the greater sense. So I have just given you no answer.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
answer.
when I got asked this on the show, I did say Kano, and it
Mhm.
wasn't just because of what led to BJJ, but it was what judo is, and the fact that some insane percentage of our guests walked through the judo door. So even if that didn't remain their primary art, it was just so influential in terms of how many people we've talked to, and how many people were touched by whatever Kano touched. And so for me, that was my answer, and I still stand by it for the of all time. And that's why, to me, the Gracie family is a no-brainer, and I go as specific as Hoist Gracie, simply because, we're talking about the idea that, you've got all these fighters. Like, there's no world in which Khabib Nurmagomedov is more influential than Chuck Norris. But at the same time, more people are practicing maybe in the Khabib way these days than the Chuck way. But that's cuz to me of Hoist Gracie, because in that 93, and we know that that was a family set up with the rules a little this, that, and that Hickson was maybe better, but he was the face for those first events of the shot heard around the world, which is nothing will ever be the same again. And so when I look at the landscape of what's affected most people, including knowing about and caring about the UFC, that to me goes back to Hoist. And that means all the people who aren't even thinking UFC, but are in a local BJJ gym in a small town that didn't exist 10 years ago. That to me still because of Hoist and what it showed, and therefore what the trickle down. It's almost like it went like this, UFC, and then people who don't even care about the UFC, it trickled down to them through the rainfall. So I can't even think of anyone even close, unless just for a flyer, I want to say Keanu, because John Wick made everyone re-love a certain type of thing, and he does do martial arts. Um, but I wouldn't, that's just a jokey toss that someone might argue, but I wouldn't.
Our
I, I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
Hunt. I can
Can
jump in
I,
after you.
can I, pardon my ignorance, who's Kano?
uh, founder of
Girl Kano.
judo.
Girl Kano.
Is he still alive? No, didn't you say?
I was saying when we were asked the first round, it was of
Oh, I
all
see.
time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I knew who Jigoro Kano was.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Sensei Suino, you want to say one more thing before we go to Sensei Dauphin?
Our viewer Pamela Swino nominates Michael Jai White, and uh, and she said he's a badass. He has 26 titles, and I said is badass the same as influential? And she made a good point. He's on screen, he's real, and he competes. Um, and it reminded me very much of sort of next generation Chuck Norris. So maybe he's in the running because he influences people in the ring and on screen. But we haven't gotten a Sensei Dauphin yet on this question, have we?
Well, no, we haven't, but I would never argue with a fan, let alone your wife, let alone with Pam Swino. You want to know what's crazy is that like if I think of the 80s, every person I knew, guy or girl, knew Chuck Norris and knew his movies and his shows. Um, my wife knows Walker, Texas Ranger, like all of it. I've never even seen a clip of a Michael Jai White movie,
You're
and I
right.
live in
Yes.
this world. And so for me, that's where it does fall short
Hmm.
because it doesn't have that emanation.
Yep.
And that's, again, I don't need to make the hoist point again, but people who don't watch UFC know BJJ because of him.
Hmm.
But people don't know what Jai White's doing because of his emanation. But that's only my take on it. And I don't want to be insistent.
No.
Sensei Dauphin, where do you go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go away from the Gracies because I know they're a popular name, but I think the average human in the world doesn't give two shits about them. Like, to be honest with you, like they don't, martial artists are influenced by them. Where I would take it, I would go in a couple of different directions on this. I think Pamela's actually on the right track. Like martial artists who are on the screen influence UFC fighters, people who are in martial arts, people who are not in martial arts. They're known more broadly and they're listened to, even though they're not always accurate with what they're depicting or saying, right? So they're influential in that way. I'm going to say right now, I think many of the really popular UFC followers, if you check their followings, they have huge followings of people. Like, I'm sorry, you like him or not, Conor McGregor is very influential globally as a martial artist right now. He has a huge brand, whether you hate him or not. He's a good martial artist. He's multi-time world champion. He's in the press all the time. So he has to be up there for me. A person like GSP is up there for me, most influential for the same reasons, has massive appeal, is a great champion, is continuing to train. I think if you're a guy, you probably have a crush on him, and if you're a girl, you probably have a crush on him too. He's a handsome dude in good shape. Um, People in the fight world or outside of the fight world are going to listen to him for sure. And I'm going to say something maybe that people won't agree with, but I really think right now Hanchi John Tarian is like one of the most influential and we just because we're friends with him and we see him all the time, but I think he is one of the globally most influential martial artists, especially inside of the sphere of martial arts. I don't really hear about other people who have events like him. And when you say 6 degrees of separation, Hanchi John Tarian is like probably if he doesn't know somebody, he's probably knows he only needs to make one call to figure out how to get in touch with that person. Like in my mind, inside the martial arts world, he is right now maybe well, he's at the top of the most influential people, I think.
It's a great point.
And then just put maybe a button or not, but Donnie Yen, just like his movies play in Asia in a way that we don't understand. And so I can't even speak to how many people are watching his movies in a way that globally the influence can't be, because we're talking about being on screen and we're talking about people who don't care about martial arts but care about him in a martial arts movie. So I don't know where he fits in the conversation, but he's another one who just like are a billion people watching his movie? I don't know, but a lot.
I was thinking about that too, Sean. I was thinking about if you were going to take a martial artist who is a movie star, I think Jackie Chan by far, in like for so long an amount of time. I watched him when I was a kid and he's still out there doing stuff. And how many countries pay attention to Jackie Chan, like his movies? He's a nice person. Like, if you're talking about a movie star, he'd be my one that I would say is alive today that's super influential still, for a long time.
Sorry, I've been looking down. I just Googled it, and apparently Donnie Yen has like 100 to 200 million unique viewers based on the viewership of his movies. Like that's we'll call it 150 million people who are like love that guy, and they're loving martial arts because of that guy. That's some real range. That's more than the number of people training BJJ, I'll tell you.
And Donnie Yen was in one of the Star Wars uh, movies, wasn't he?
I couldn't pick him out of a police lineup.
Yeah,
I know I've
yeah.
seen him.
I
I
know
don't.
he's super famous.
Yeah,
I think he was in one of the Star Wars movies, which means he's not. That's a crossover audience of hundreds of millions of people,
yeah.
right? Not
No,
just martial arts.
it's significant. Sensei Suino, I know you wanted to jump into some stuff coming up. We're not ending our show or anything, but I know that that's where we want to go next.
Well, this might take a bit. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up as always, but some stuff on the near horizon. And I thought we could chat. Randy and I are going to be involved in EIDL camp in Kitchener in 21 days, I think. It's a great weekend. People come together to do EIDO. They learn a bunch of technical stuff. We do some Bokken fencing. That Friday evening, the 13th of March, we're going to do a little testing for those people that don't ordinarily have a place to test for rank. Saturday afternoon, we remember my teacher, Yamaguchi Sensei, by having a little tournament, just a chance for people to pressure test their EIDO in front of others. And we trained a little bit Sunday morning as well. It's a huge EIDO weekend. Usually super well attended. We have a great time, meet a ton of good people. Yeah, Randy, what do you want to say about EIDL camp?
I always look forward to it. Mostly, so what do I look forward to? I like when you're there, Suino Sensei and Miller and Holland and Spangler and myself. It's nice when that group of five people is together, like teaching and training. But we have since Legacy Black Belt in Iaido, he comes, Justin is there, Andrew is there, um, Beth comes. Like if you come to the Iaido camp, you're gonna be around. I don't know. I'm gonna be bold and say globally some of the most elite EIDO people all in one room doing it together. It's really cool to see that. I like when new people come. Like I like when people who have never done EIDO, they're a BJJ person or a judo person, and I tell them, no, come to EIDO camp. Like why would you not want to go train with like Suino Sensei, one of the best EIDO instructors on the planet? Even if you decide you hate EIDO after, you could just say, hey, I still trained with this guy. Like there's so many seminars that I've gone to where it's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to do that, but I trained with them, right? Like I had the opportunity to go train with that person. But some people come in. I've had lots of people come and join because they came to EIDO camp. So I like that. I really like that community of people now. Many of them cross over. We're talking about people now like again, Sensei Canispo comes to everything we do. He comes to fight camp, he referees at the tournament, he comes to the Crucible, he'll come to EIDO camp. But I like getting that mix of people. Sean DeJong comes, Michael Downs comes, Sensei Wolf comes. I didn't mention him and his cadre of really good black belts in EIDO that come. Um, and it's just another one of those, like everybody's NKS people come like crazy. Like we have tons of NKS people who come. Yeah, I don't know. I love the group of people and I love that art a lot. And I look forward to doing it every year. I just look forward to doing it, to sharing it. Why wouldn't you want to share something with people that you're so passionate about that's impacted your life so positively? But since Legacy goes every year too, he's gone every year 5 years that we've done it. What are your thoughts about that event, Sensei?
That's a great event. A lot of great instructors, all led by Sensei Suino. If you want to learn EI, like top class EI, there are a lot of people who I've been in different places I'm not going to mention and watch their EI, and I can recognize instantly that they weren't trained very well. And well,
I
from,
know. I'm laughing because I recognize them too.
from what I've learned, and I'm a Shodan, and I'm an old guy, so I don't look at me, but if you look at Sensei Suino and um, the people that teach there, you'll see that those are outstanding EI teachers, and it's probably the best place you're going to learn EI at. Right? There may be some other ones, but I have yet to see them.
I remember once, let's see, one of the first times I took Christine to Sensei Suino's dojo, and she just sat there and watched while Sensei Suino and I and Miller and Holland and Spangler went through the entire thing. And she wasn't even doing karate at that point. So she just sat there politely and watched. And when we left, Suino Sensei said to her, "Look, I know you don't know what you just saw, but you will likely never see five humans who know how to do this art like that, all training in the same spot the way we just did ever again in your entire life, unless you come here and see the five of them, us training again." Um, but
That's
I say that the other people who come, like yourself included, Sensei Legacy, like the black belts are good black belts in Iaido that come. You will be inspired and helped by a lot of people that if you choose to come to that event. Benz, what about you? You've come to it. You've picked the sword up, put the sword down, pick the sword up. Maybe you should come next month and pick it up again.
That's not a bad idea. I love the sword. I know I don't spend a lot of time with it these days, but to me, there's two things. There's the event itself, and there's something about Iaido that's just different than all the other arts in terms of just an internal presence because it's not reactive to another human in that way. And I think anytime we're doing that, whether it's kata or cuts, it's harder. I think it's harder to train alone to a standard of now do it better, then you can take a breather in a sparring match. Unless you're pummeled against the ropes, you can find a way to get a little pause, but you can't when you're seeking excellence in that. So, but the other thing is, so many of what advice would you give yourself or what's your regret? It's always about time and who we didn't get to train with. And so I really like, you know, what Hanshi said about Sensei Suino, what you said, like, why wouldn't you want to just go do that? So, yeah, my sword isn't dusty. It's just not super sharp either. So, that's a really great idea. But I want to ask a quick question to you, Sensei Suino, before we segue to the next topic you wanted to bring up about Japan. When you said that about the people cutting in the room and Sensei Dauphin and the others, um, is Iaido rock star in Japan these days the way it was when you were over there, or is it living over here a little more now?
That's a good question. Uh, that's a good question. If I don't know with authority the answer to this question. From my seat, it looks like the smaller Koryu schools are on the ascendancy. The old family styles of Iaido. Um, Most particularly, I'm thinking of a friend of ours, Yagi Sensei, who teaches an art called Yushin Shojiryu, which is a very old. It descends from Jigenryu. It's a very, very old style, very combative. He's built his school up over time. And what's happened in a lot of Iaido has become effete. It's become very, very demonstration focused and not very, it's lost a lot of its combative roots. Um, so and that may be just a matter of my personal taste, but I think Iaido is at its best when the structure and the posture and the strength are all present, that the moves are not done as decoration, that they're done as functionally. And if they're beautiful, it's because they're done functionally very, very well. And so I don't see a whole lot of that from where I sit. I am not saying that I have the I don't have the worldview to know,
Mhm.
but most of the Ido that I end up seeing is a little bit effete, and it's not to my taste, and I can defend it with reasons, right? It's not just taste. I have reasons for that opinion.
And then springboard us into Japan trips.
Well, some of us have a Japan trips coming up, and that's always really fun. So I wanted to kind of hear why people are going and what they're looking forward to. Right? These are lifetime martial artists, more than I mean, really long lifetime martial artists who have done a lot of cool shit. So why are we still going back to Japan and still so excited about it?
Who are you going to with that?
Let me go to you first, Randy.
I'm excited to go. The first time I went to Japan, I went with Sensei Legacy, and that was a blast. Like it was so cool. We went to mainland Japan, had the best spaghetti we ever had in our life. Went to the 47 Ronin, had some funny interactions with a gardener there. Um, you know, went to Okinawa, trained with Ikihara Sensei and Taba Sensei. That was really fun. Went to Matsumori Nitosu's graves. And now I'm gonna go back again in March with Sensei Legacy. I've been with you 3 times, Suino Sensei, and I know we're all gonna go more. Like it's just so fun to be there. Like it's just so fun to be in that country. I love the beer. I love the food. I love getting around there. It brings to life the stuff that I read in history books, right? Like it's one thing to read about the story of the 47 Ronin. It's another thing to walk in to the gravesite of the 47 Ronin and kneel down at each grave and burn incense there to see the well where Kira's head was washed. It's just see Lord Asano's grave, right? The same grave that they put the head on the grave. Like it makes things more real. This time we're gonna start in Tokyo in the Shinagawa area and we're gonna start moving our way south. And I'm really excited. One of the things I'm really excited to go with Sensei Legacy and see is the cave where Miyamoto Musashi apparently came up with Gono Sen, the Book of Five Rings, right? Like where he started penning all that and jotting it down. So it'd be really nice to go into that place and see that. Gonna go back to Okinawa. I haven't been there in I don't know 18 years or 19 years. Um, if you've never been to Okinawa, it's really nice there. I mean, nice white beaches. It's warm, kind of like Hawaii. Yeah, and just it's gonna be a fun. I've never been there for Cherry Blossom Festival, so it'll be nice to be there for Cherry Blossom Festival. Um, might sit under a cherry tree and drink some sake. Wink. Like that might be in my future in the next couple months. So I don't know. That's I just love going there. There's and the one thing I like about it now, Suino Sensei, is I've been there enough times that like if you put me in Tokyo, I can get around to different places. I know where the restaurants and the sites are. I can get you to Meiji Temple. Like I know how to do those things. And uh, we're actually when we get to Okinawa, we're pretty well known on that island too. Like when we get there, um, we're pretty well known.
See some friends of the show, I hope.
Yeah. See,
Nice.
probably James Pankovich for sure, and yeah, some others.
Some others. Hanshi, what are you looking forward to on the Japan trip? And why do we keep going back?
It's almost like a pilgrimage, or you just like to be in. It's like watching a hockey game in Canada or the United States, or baseball in the United States. It's um, you see things too that you realize that some of the things that they write about because they're a smaller race and they jumped up into these trees and over the walls. Well, I can look over those walls and I can I can touch almost the top of the trees and stuff. So it changes some of the ideas I had in my head. But there were a lot of great martial artists. There's probably a lot of great other persons there as well. But the things that two things I'm looking forward to, actually three, is uh, uh, one is we're going to go to Funakoshi's grave who is a very important person in karate. And I also found out that last time we were at Matsumura's grave, uh, when I was going this time, I asked about his wife, Yanomani Shiru, who was her nickname, the Crane Warrior. She was like one hell of a fighter, I think. And I wrote to find her. I didn't write, but I put it in my phone to see if I could search out where her grave so we could go. And apparently, I found out that she's buried with Matsumura right there in that family grave. So uh, I'm going there for not only the same reason, but also a different reason. Um, and then Musashi, going to Musashi's, where Musashi once stood, to just stand there. I'm going to walk around, try to put my feet on every inch of that just to get that sensation of being where he was, you know. And if anyone has never been to Japan or Okinawa, Okinawa is it's like Florida. You know, it's very, very warm there. If you have never been to Japan and saw the geisha and their streets, everything, how clean everything is, go, go. If you, even if you're not a martial artist, go there.
Mhm.
You'll be very pleasantly surprised. So it's exactly 12 hours. Well, not exactly, but at 12 o'clock noon, it's 12 o'clock midnight there, and vice versa. There's that, right? The jet lag, but it is a very beautiful country, very honest people. If you drop your wallet and you retrace your steps, it will still be there a couple hours later when you go back. It's,
And if it's gone, it's because a foreigner picked it up and walked
That's
away.
right.
yeah. And the other thing I saw that it just, the thing that I was mostly shocked about was we went to an old samurai, I don't know what to call it, where they stayed. And it was like a different, it was almost like a barracks. And when I stood there, I almost, I could reach up and touch the roof, right? And I just stood back and looked and thought, what would it be like if they were sitting on a horse? How high up would they be compared to, you know, just the edge of the roof? So it's just something that you can see, or like it's almost like a very small race of persons. Just beautiful, beautiful place to be.
What are you going for this time, Srina Sensei?
I've got a mission, and then I've got some things I'm looking forward to. So my friend Jeff Hauptman, right, it's been his on his bucket list to test in karate in Japan for years and years, and so um, I'm gonna go with him. I'll test as well, but so we're gonna spend a week training every day at this guy Shun Shimizu Sensei's dojo, a good friend of ours. The lineage or connection there is for many, many years. I followed Nobetsu Sensei, a Goju karate guy that had a huge organization in northern suburbs of Tokyo. And he passed away, but he passed his art on to Shimizu Sensei. So we follow him for our kata and the karate system. So we'll train intensively with him for a week and then test, and hopefully it'll go well. Um, but a week or 10 days in Japan is my idea of a good time. I'm really looking forward to the food and the culture. I will try to visit some friends, some of whom are former guests on this show, Lance Gatling being one, Paul Martin being another. Um, Maybe I'll find some other folks who would be good guests on Punch Kick Choke Chat. I've got a lot of friends that I knew well when I lived over there. So it's going to be, lunches with friends and 3 hours in the dojo every day, and then a test followed by a celebratory dinner. And coming off shortly after getting off the hard 75, so 75 days of no carbs and no alcohol, um, I'm going to kind of save up and then go to Japan
Mm.
and take the leash off for a few days, just see how that goes.
Well, it's a little known thing about Japan, Sereno Sensei, that you know we picture them always buttoned up, but they like to drink their alcohol in that country too. Like they
Yes, they
like to
do.
party. It's
Rumor has it.
yeah,
Rumor
it's
has it.
late nights there. If you want to have late nights, you can have late nights there for sure.
I was just reading, there's a fair amount of Japan being mad at tourists these days. And so if you happen to go to a cherry blossom thing, they say don't climb the trees and don't grab the boughs and shake them really hard to make the stuff come off for your Instagram posts.
Well,
And other than that, you should be okay.
did you say that they're annoyed with the tourists? Because
Yes.
that makes me want to go even more. I'm so excited to annoy some Japanese people
Hey, just don't screw it up for the rest of us, would you?
I make no promises. But
Fair.
Benz, I'll give you one thing I do want to say that's really cool about Japan. This is a personal thing. Is um, I'm sure some people can say this, but not a lot of North Americaners can say that I did Iaido in Japan with my Iaido teacher, and I did karate in Japan with my karate teacher, and I'll do it again. Um, and to go with your teacher to the place where it started and do it there is really special. You've been to Japan, Benson, just not with any of us.
Yeah, I've been twice and I love it. I could live there. I mean, it's phenomenal. And my next trip is going to be with my wife. We got that on our next 1 to 2 years. And if it times out, we'll join you guys. I just don't know when it's going to be. But we're super excited. But aside from just loving the culture, loving the shopping, I'm a fashion guy, like forget it. I'm bringing an empty suitcase next time to just bring home cool clothes and like not even designer, just well designed things. That aesthetic is insane. Um, but there's two things I want to say. Like Hanshi talked about the low walls. This isn't about Japan, but I remember being in Greece on Crete at the Palace at Knossos, which is where the Minotaur was in the labyrinth. And when you see the labyrinth, it looks like someone's backyard fence, like it's nothing. And it's the actual labyrinth of great myth. And it's really like, what? And you realize that, the mythology is large. But the other thing about the Okinawa, like it's almost 1,000 miles from Tokyo, Naha. Like, it really helped my understanding that Okinawan and Japanese karate are not the same, like mainland Japan. Like they're developed like from here to Denver or here to New Orleans. That's the distance from Tokyo to Naha. It's truly a different culture, truly a different feeling. And it really helped deepen my understanding of Okinawan karate as opposed to mainland. And for some reason, that imaginatively really helped me sink in to our style in a way that really felt important. So yeah, I can't wait to get back. I could genuinely live there. I had a friend who lived there, met his wife there, and I just have so much love, obviously, for the culture, but the way it feels over there is so awesome. And on the simplest level, the triangular with tuna or salmon in the middle with rice. How is that not for sale at every 7-Eleven in North America? Like, please, can we get that wrapped in seaweed? I forget the name, Sensei Suino.
Onigiri.
Onigiri. Like I live on onigiri over there, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
heaven on earth.
And it's like
100%.
125. Like you can get like
So
three of
cheap.
them for like $4.
And just feel good all day on healthy food. Like it's divine. But and also last thing I'll say, like this isn't about martial arts, but the vehicles. Such cool vehicles because it is a tight space and like so well designed, so efficient. And I'm just like, can we have these cars over here, please? Like there's need for big trucks now and then, but can we have both? It's just I just love the design aesthetic, including the architecture. Um, we're at that time where I have to thank Robert Shlumsky, Justin Shea, Andrei Sadashev, Josh Kitchens, Cristiano Lando, Drita Giuliani, Stavros Stavroulias, and Sensei Suino.
Madison Elizabeth Schroeder.
That is now written down. I will defer to you or not in future. Um, what do we want to say goodnight? Hanshi Legacy, we'll start with you.
Um, you caught me there. Um, Not much, just the year has been good, and we're just looking forward to many more years. If you know someone who deserves to be on this podcast, please let us know. We can always use uh, good, mature martial artists that make a difference. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thanks, Hanshi. Sensei Suino.
You're muted, Sensei. You muted yourself.
Now I can hear you. Can you hear me now? I've learned how to use this. There's one button that goes this way and one that goes that way. Host chat is the most chat. Love these things. This was just like sitting down on the dining room table and shooting the shit for an hour and a half. Loved it. Let's do it again.
We will for sure. I'm going to chip in now because I'd love to throw the last word to Sensei Dauphin, especially because what Hanshi said, that tournament was so significant and he really is the pulse. But I really like what Hanshi said, like the year started off well. Like this just feels like such a vibrant, active, dynamic martial arts year for me personally, but also in terms of the landscape. And I don't know, not to pat ourselves in the back, but I think the show is keeping us connected and growing in a way that's so exciting to me. Like 2026 is a very like pure martial arts year so far, and it's so exciting. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone watching and listening. Sensei Dauphin, take us home.
I'm going to just say thank you to the three of you for staying committed to this and continuing to work away at it. I do think it's impactful. I think we've received benefit from it, but importantly, I think the community of people receives benefit from it. I get really weird messages or walk into places and people will say, "Oh, like I watched that episode of this. I learned so much from that." And that makes me feel really happy that we're able to do something like that, give people like a voice to be able to tell their own story. So I'm really proud of that. I also want to just say thank you to the people who keep logging in. And it's since Legacy said this when we went to go get the mats. He said it's always the same people, Randy, who show up to help, and you can see that in this show, right? Like it's the people who are on here right now: Sensei Copeland, Sensei Panekia, Sensei Kanispel, Sensei Wadi, Pam, and Christine. They don't miss. Like these people don't miss. They show up, and I keep threatening to have a super fan show. Um, we should have a super fan show where they get to come on and say, "This is what I've learned from paying attention," and in their own words. It would be nice to hear from them at some point, because they must be learning something. Because it can't be the four of us that's entertaining them this much. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you. It's a great life, and this is a lot of fun, and I appreciate everybody's commitment.